A customer brought in a Sega Turbo Cabaret, and it was dead, but it really wasn't dead. It is a rat's nest of wires in here. There's a power button that's kind of hidden over here on the side they didn't know about, so I was able to flip that on. The monitor came on, so that was a big bonus. It may need to be rebuilt still, I'm not sure. And it looks like the power supply is dead. We're getting no game sounds or actions. I did test the voltages just now, and it has AC coming in and no 12 volts, and the 5 volts was crazy. So I don't want to turn it on again until I get that replaced. So first things first is we're going to swap that out and see if we can get the game to come on. I brought in 2 spare board sets. As you can see here, there's 2 main boards, and then I think that one's a soundboard. But I have 2 sets over there, so I should have everything I need here to rebuild that monitor, and except for a flyback. I don't have a flyback. And a power supply, and we should be able to get this game going today, I hope. So stick around.
This job would be great if it wasn't for the customers.
I'm Walter Day, the father of esports, and you're watching Matty Mo's Arcade.
And you know how long it's been since I played Whac-A-Mole?
I'm getting ready to attack, fanny pack attached. Tokens are all stacked, got the mallet in my grasp. Waiting for the moles, hiding in their holes. Score, we're keeping tally, I'll be playing till they close now. Can't nobody beat my high score. You can't beat my high score. Can't nobody beat my high score. You can't beat my high score. I'm a mallet master, a single-fisted blaster. You can ask my baby, it starts slow then gets faster. I'm a record setter.
First thing I did was replace the plug. It didn't have a ground plug on it. So I'm putting the power supply in here. I know this power supply works. I've tested it in several games here. As you can see, I got a lot of just cut wires that are going places, and the power supply wiring here, I'm pretty confident in all of it except for these white wires here that are going to ground. That's how they had them labeled, and I'm not confident that those are ground. So I want to go, I do have the pinouts for the PCB, so I can try to track colors back from here, but that's about all I have as far as the wiring diagram. And I'm just gonna have to pull this wiring mess out and just figure it out before I power anything on. Even though I have extra boards and stuff, I don't want to fry one, because that's not economical. But I want to. I don't trust this guy's work. It seems a little fishy, and he didn't have any earth ground on there either. The 2 green wires that I have going in. Actually, it's really dark green next to a light green. So I just want to check all this stuff out, and if I'm not 100%, I'm going to check on my game over at Mike's, which I think I'm going to be heading over there in a little while just to look at that anyway. So I don't know where all this stuff goes, and I'm sure I can find it, but it'd be nice to just know right away. I don't see any like connectors that are loose that are missing a plug, and sometimes they're plugs that don't go anywhere. This one goes right to the power supply. And I thought maybe this was speaker. This is the same kind of coloring that goes to the speaker, but that one is hooked up. There might be one up above. This is that wiring here. Okay, yeah, I think that is speaker wire. So there's probably an issue with the soundboard, and so they cut that wire. But what a mess. Let's see if you can see what I got going on in here. Granted, it looked a lot like this to begin with, but wow. But I'm gonna stop for now and pull out the schematics, and then, like I said, if worse comes to worse, we will do a little video on the back of my game and compare it to mine's an upright full size, so we can compare the two anyway, and at least be confident on what wiring is what that way. But give me 2 seconds in your time, and God knows how long in my time. I started at the easiest solution. I checked this power supply, the one that I thought was good and I had been tested on other games. When I thought about it, I don't know if we can even get this thing on camera. I used it in here and I wasn't getting any DC voltage. And so when I had that problem twice, I'm like, I need to check this thing. And this is my little test rig, and it definitely is supplying the right AC voltage, and I am getting little to very nothing off of this, and it sounds really bad. I was going to turn it on for you guys, but I don't want to take any shrapnel. This power supply definitely doesn't work, but I'm either going to rebuild that one or one of these that's down here. I'm going to test these. Maybe I'll have one that, maybe one of them works good enough. I think that black one is not part of the pile. That one's actually Zach's for his multi-Williams, but it's just in because they're all the same style. But I'm going to check those, check this one, and try to get his power supply going. I did look at the wiring again over here, and it seems to be legit as far as the wiring that they say is ground. The only thing I don't know is what this plugged into, but I imagine I will find it. It could be, it looks like it's 5 volts, it's red, and this other one's ground, so I'm not sure what runs on 5 volts. I didn't see anything hanging off the coin door, but I don't imagine it's going to be too detrimental to the game. So let me try to get a power supply that's going, and hopefully we can hear some game sounds. Or maybe not with this soundboard, we'll see. Okay, it's been several days since we were working on the turbo last, and since I did any video. I did do some work on it. I think last we were on the power supply, and I just figured I needed to get a working supply in there, which I did, but it didn't do any good. Let's go over here and I'll show you the board. You know, I have to apologize. I'm watching hockey and I'm not going to turn it off. So some things are just more important. So I did get a good power supply in and got good voltage to the board. This is the soundboard here, and as you can see, there's some kind of issue with this guy right here, which I do believe is one of these little blue guys. I'm assuming that's a capacitor. I really don't have any idea. I can figure it out, but I have other boards, so to move forward, I'm not going to worry about that too much, other than I'm, kind of curious if it was a bad part that caused this, or if it was some kind of wiring issue or something like that. So I'm definitely going to go through all the wiring and make sure that that's not an issue before we go any further, at least with that. Not just going to keep frying boards for no reason. Let's take a look in here. I actually had the original key for this, which is pretty cool. Get it somewhere. Thought I was going to get to use my new lockpick set, but no luck on that. Next game. Okay, I do have the mic situation figured out. My audio cable had grounding issues, and so that's what's causing all that weird feedback when I use it. So I'm just looking for a new audio cable that I know is good and that fits my phone, and then we will have the mic back, and I still can't look away from you when I'm talking, but I can at least walk away from the camera some. So let's get in here and look at this a little bit, see what I'm talking about. It's a rat's nest in here. Let me get this other little flashlight, and it'll help out a little bit in here. So the power supply wiring is all just here, and I want to go through and verify. There's just so much hacking going on, and I don't think it had a switching power supply to start with, so I don't know 100% sure that all the voltages were good. I just checked the 5 and the 12 volt, but there must be, I'm sure, power going to that audio board too that I didn't think of, and I just really didn't think there was going to be any kind of problems with it. And we'll look at that board again. All of the components are just smashed together, so like everything is probably shorted out all over the place. It also looks like there's like some soda spilt on it or something. But until I start that, I do want to check with the owner and see what kind of budget he's got before I just go hog wild and just completely redo this thing. But I'll try to keep it in his budget too. So my next thought is I will go ahead and, on the current budget we do have, I can fix, go ahead and recap this monitor and get it going. But I don't know if you can see this here. This is the video header pins, and they're just so loose they're falling through. One's missing. I did pull the plastic piece off, but that was already after I already figured out that I'm not going to be able to check that video signal with the way it is. So I'm going to have to pull this monitor anyway. So if I'm pulling it and soldering on the chassis at all, I'm just going to go ahead and cap it while I got it out. And then we know that I can at least get the monitor looking good. But yeah, I was going to hook the test pattern generator up to it and then kind of know where we were sitting with that. I know it does work, but I don't know how good the picture is. So that's kind of where we're sitting, and I'm going to pull that out now, and I kind of have it prepped for that. Let's look at this board real fast. I'll show you this. Grab that flashlight. Okay, so for example, where were those? Was it on this? Okay, so it's on this here. I don't want to touch this too much. I don't have the grounding strap on. Okay, just for example, look at this bank of transistors here. And I don't think they're touching each other where they would short out, but everything on this board has just been bent and manhandled like this. And all the capacitors and I forget what the little flat round capacitors, I forget what they're actually called, the little brown ones. Those are bent over, and legs are touching up against pins of chips and stuff, so it's just a mess. And just to check it, I want to grab one of my boards that I know work, and I thought they were sitting over here. Okay, sorry, I don't want to make you sick. Okay, they're up here on the top in the Pit Fighter board, or box there. I have two complete sets of turbo boards, and they work, but I don't know if you know anything about turbo, they're always kind of finicky, and you gotta like reseat the chips a bunch and reseat connectors, and I don't know, it's probably my board sets too. It's probably got a lot of oxidation, but there's a lot of these little let's see if I can find a couple. A lot of these little guys that plug in all up and down each board in the board set, and I'm sure those are oxidized. The pins in these are probably oxidized. If it was mine and I loved it, which I do like the game, and I really do like the Cabaret version, my favorite is the cockpit. I really liked my cockpit when I had it. I wish I didn't sell it. But yeah, I would go ahead and I would repin all of the connectors. I would probably, if you can even find header pins, I'm sure you can, replace those header pins and just get a good connection on everything. Probably resocket all the chips on the board, and you could probably make this thing a lot more stable. But the plan is, and I'm getting long in the tooth, we're like 8 minutes on this clip alone. So I'm going to pull this monitor. I have it disconnected. All I have to do is unhook it from the front and then yank it. And then I'll be ready to pull this chassis and go ahead and cap it. Hopefully all it needs is just caps. You know, I was hoping that I could just hook the test pattern generator up to it and then it would be beautiful and I wouldn't have to worry about it, just clean it. But I need to, I did quote that in the price if I didn't have to get him a new monitor. So I'm going to go ahead and do that anyway. It needs to be done. But then we'll just question him about the board, and if need be, I'll just sell him one of my spares. Because I do have an upright turbo still, so I need one set for that. I'll get the second set, my second best set, as good as I can get it, which it should be fine. But like I said, I'm not going to resocket and all the chips and stuff like that unless I have to get it to work. But I'm going to get it where it's stable. Because this guy doesn't, you know, he's just a regular guy. He doesn't know how to go through and tweak everything like that, or even unconnect, connect. Man, that's kind of hard to say. Unconnect and connect connectors. So I do need to get that kind of stable. We'll find out what kind of budget we're working with on this, but I do think we got enough budget to get it going. And the other thing, last thing I promise. It's over here. And this is another thing I'm going to have to check, is there's lots and lots of just wires that are extra and hanging all over the place. And some of these are original, from the original harness. And this thing feels like, I don't even know if you can see this on camera. You got a big ray of sunshine going through. This thing feels like it's just shifting through mud. But it could be these little bolts are too tight there. I don't know. We got some fun, and hopefully he wants to go ahead and get this. And I know he doesn't have a lot of money, so I'll just try to keep it as reasonable as possible and use it as, we'll just say that the part that he gets knocked off on price goes towards the few dollars I'll make off the YouTube video. Because at least it is good content. But anyway, that's where we're at. That's where we stand. I'm going to yank this guy. Coming up in the future, we still have. I'm going to go over a complete video on pachinko machines, like how they work, how to fix them, like common stuff. I have a power supply for this guy, and I'm actually going to order a whole stack of supplies for those. And we have the Donkey Kong cocktail. We have the monitor working now, so now we need to figure out why the board is not firing up, and it's very odd that we don't get anything at all. And I've ordered a couple things that I think it is, but I don't want to say what I think it is yet, because I want to possibly focus on that for a video, and it might be a surprise. And that is it, I think, other than we just need to organize the shop again. And it is getting out of control, and work on the test bench more. We have the multi-Williams still coming in if Zach ever brings it in. So I'll have pretty much everything set up here in the next few days, hopefully, except for the board. And I can just plug the board in, and we'll be able to see if everything works ahead of time before we put it in the cabinet, and then we'll just build it out. That should be fun. But that's it. That is all she wrote. And so if I can't find the footage from before this, that's why I went a little bit long on this one, because it might have to be its own standalone video. And those of you that made it this far when I started this clip, you'll probably still be here. So thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you on the next one. So these two right here are going to be ground and 5 volt. So what do we get here? Did I not turn the game on? I didn't turn the game on. I guess that would help. Hang on.
Here it is. A nice little trade. The person I traded got what they wanted. I got what I wanted. And a pretty good deal on it, too. Super hang on.
What I want!
That comes later.
Yeah.
Okay. It's on fire.
Whoa.
Lots of smoke.
Well, that's bad.
Yeah, well, thanks for watching.
When you take care of people, people take care of you in this community.
That's the truth.
So everyone, please remember that. Even if we're competitors, we're not enemies.